Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook. How we doing tonight, everybody? This is Four Bros Radio Show. Three bros with you tonight. We do have a special guest to make it four people on the show. I'm not going to reveal that just yet as to who the fourth is. Sarge is not with us tonight, unfortunately, because he has something else going on that is very important. And if he would have been on here tonight, I would have had something to say about that. So, we will get started here in a second. Tonight we're joined by Chris. Chris, how's it going, man?
Going good. Glad to be back, and hope everybody's doing good.
All right, and tonight we're joined by Big B. Big B, what's going on tonight, man?
Hey, I'm doing okay. I'm glad I had the time to finally come and check out Four Bros Radio.
All right, and thanks for being on tonight. We appreciate it very much. And it's coming to that time where we're going to introduce our special guest for tonight to get a different perspective on stuff. Anyone know where I'm going with this yet? We're going to get a different perspective than we normally have on the network, something that we haven't gotten yet on the network. And without further ado, here's what I'm going to tell you. Now, it's not going to be expertise as far as sports, but they can give us a different perspective on some questions. So, going to appear off screen, just voice tonight, with some questions asked. I want to introduce to the show my other half, Jennifer.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Good. Doing good.
So it's nice we can sit here and get to ask her some questions, get her perspective on some stuff. All right. So we had some topics for tonight that we were going to bring up. Isaiah, man, you're not gonna defend, dude. I watched that. I watched that trivia show of your guys's. That was awful. Just gotta say it. Yeah. So it was pretty terrible. Let's see what topics we had for tonight. So, guys, what did you think of over the weekend? Let's do the MLB update first. Now, we always hear from Chris as far as the Rangers go. Rangers, how are the Rangers doing, Chris?
6 straight losses. Maybe another one tonight. I have to look.
6 straight losses. So, yeah, that's not very good.
No, it's not.
Brandon? I'm
They
sorry,
showed
Big
up.
B. Excuse me, Big B. I
No.
mean, if you would have told me before the season started that the Twins would be in last place, I would
have taken that bet.
I would have called you crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they're 2-8 in their last 10 games. Run differential now, since they got blown out big time, is up to a -32. Yeah, they're horrendous at home and on the road. But the bright spot, until he got lit up today with the home run by Mercedes, was Astudillo going out there and throwing another inning of ball. So, got to see some high heat tonight.
Rangers did win 5-2 against the Yankees.
Oh, they beat the 6-game losing streak, so they won one. Yeah, that's good for the Rangers. I don't know that you guys are going to pull out of last place, but
I don't think the Twins are either.
yeah, and let's not talk about the Braves. I mean, we get right back to 500 and then we lose again. Like, we can't get over 500 this year. I don't even know what to say about that, to be honest. But our pitching has been horrendous. And then our best pitcher this year, oh man, I don't even want to bring that up. Inoa has been our best pitcher this year. Yeah. And last night was his worst game, okay? He had a terrible game yesterday. And what's he do? He promptly goes out of the game and punches the seat in the dugout and breaks his pitching hand, and now he's out for 2 months.
That's bad.
Esquire Noah.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I know you get frustrated when it's not going well, but take it out on the wall or a jug or a buddy's face ain't a way to settle it. So
Yeah, especially not because now we just lost him for 2 months, and we're
Yeah.
not getting Mike Soroka back this year. His surgery was successful, but they said he's not coming back. So big injuries in Atlanta. And
how many catches you guys got on roster right now?
Oh my
I mean,
goodness! Well, right
A
now
lot.
we got William Contreras and Jeff Mathis, and then we signed Jonathan Lucroy. He's in AAA, but Contreras is our fourth catcher to start a game, and then Jeff Mathis became our fifth catcher to start a game this year.
Okay.
So we've had 5 catchers in 43 games this year. So that should tell you
Wow.
all you need to know about our season at catcher. Center field's almost as good, though. We have had Pache start in center field this year. We've had Heredia start in center field. We have had Adrianza start in center field. Acuna start in center field, and so has Encarte. So we've had 5 guys start in center field this year as well.
Well, that's like the Twins. I think they've had like 6, 7 different guys starting center too. I mean,
So it's not great right now. Not great times in Atlanta, but we are better than the Twins and the Rangers, so I'll take it. I'll definitely take it.
I can't blame that you would say anything different. I mean,
Yeah. I just hope we can get some pitching help. I hope our pitchers can. We signed Shane Green, and he's close. He's close to coming to the majors, and that'll be a big signing for us. He was great last year. Hope he can be as good this year. So, well, that's our MLB update. That was our first segment on the show. About 7.5 minutes per segment is about usually what we average. That's right at where we're at. So we're going to go to the second one.
hey,
Now
what's
this-
up, Landon?
This one I will get Jennifer involved in because it's thoughts on Kobe, Duncan, and KG Hall of Fame ceremony from this weekend, and I would like to see what you guys think. Like, did either of you get to watch any of that and see any of the Hall of Fame ceremony from the weekend?
I watched on YouTube KG's and Kobe's ceremony.
I heard a little bit, Kobe.
No.
Yeah. So what did you guys think?
Tear jerkers. I mean, you know, Garnett didn't say too much that I didn't think he was going to say. I mean, he thanked all the teams that he played for. I mean, pretty much thanked everybody. That's pretty much all his thing. And I mean, it touched my heart that he wants to be in Minnesota and help us rebuild the city and the team. So hopefully that stuff works itself out. But the Kobe one with his wife and Jordan up on stage, I mean, that one was really touching. She spoke from the heart as probably much as she could, and try to bring us what Kobe would have said. But she said, Kobe probably would have winged us and said something totally different. And you know, it's hard to see a grown man on the side crying or tearing up. I mean, that's always a touching thing too. So,
Yeah.
but those two were really good.
Well, you know, so do you guys find it funny that Duncan, Garnett, and Kobe were all drafted? They all came in the league in '96 to '97.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
They
They were
all
all in the same draft class?
well close, not the exact
Okay.
same draft
Okay,
class,
that's
but
what I thought.
'96 or
Okay.
'97. They
Okay.
all played 20 seasons.
Yep.
Okay, they were all 15-time All-Stars or more in their careers. They all won an MVP. They all won a Finals MVP. They all were Defensive Player of the Year. They all were all defense. Like, these 3 guys were the face of the NBA after Jordan left and before LeBron became huge, is what I would say. And they all 3 deserve the Hall of Fame very much, in my opinion.
Yes.
KG was my favorite player that didn't play for San Antonio. Always will be. I just loved KG's game. For me, that was the big one. Like, I knew Duncan was going to be emotional because it's kind of who he was as a player. He was
Yeah.
always soft-spoken, and he always was very humble in that. But to watch Kevin Garnett go up there and just kind of, you could see it on his face that he was getting emotional when he was talking
Oh,
about how much Duncan and Kobe made him a better player,
Yep.
and all of that just, to me, that set Garnett apart from everyone else. And what set Kobe apart, and when his wife comes up and says that he played through injuries,
Yep.
because what about that person that saved up for months to watch me play one time?
Yep.
Yeah,
Once.
that was a good, I
And
guess,
that's-
comment.
That's the difference, because that's the difference of players from 15 years ago to players now, to be completely honest, in my opinion. Those guys think about. So I saw what was interesting versus all the points, the rebounds, the assists. I mean, we could go on and on about their stats. These guys deserved Hall of Fame, hands down. First ballot, wasn't going to be a question for any of the three of them. The one stat that I saw is that these three guys, now think they each played 20 years. Let's remember that, right? So in 20 years, so 60 years of combined NBA, 11 championships, by the way, between the three of them. That's just crazy. In those 20 years, the three of them combined to miss 125 games in 20 seasons.
Wow.
Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah,
That is.
Garnett more at the end, but Duncan
Yeah.
and Kobe were there every game, and Duncan missed most of his on rest when Popovich would pull him for rest.
When they started that waste management, load management.
Load management. Yeah. Now the first question for you, Jennifer, is you saw the Kobe ceremony, you saw the speech, you saw some of Duncan's. What were your initial thoughts?
For me, the piece that I liked the most was Kobe's wife's speech. I was amazed at how she kept it together, because I had a hard time keeping it together. I like how she really told about Kobe, about the type of person he was on and off the court. How a lot of times, they don't talk about, they'll say, oh, I thank my fans and I thank all these people. And she really said that Kobe got to where he was because he was Kobe. And the way he portrayed himself for the sport, for his family, and that for his work ethic. So
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah, and I liked how she put in there that, on the days he was available, he would get up, work out, come home, take the kids to school, go to practice, come home, pick them up from school, have dinner at home. Like, he cared so much for those girls that it was unreal. Like, he played basketball, and that was his job. But when it came down to it, the biggest pride in his life was being a girl dad. And you saw it in everything he did.
Well, I mean, he was helping train, I think it was Gigi. Becoming a basketball player herself, and they would show him with her at, basketball games, kind of pointing at what's going on, saying, okay, this is what's going on, and just trying to teach her the game, but also being there.
I held it together really well. I welled up a little bit, I won't lie, especially during Duncan's. And again, let me just say that Duncan was not just a player for my Spurs. He's the only guy that's won 1,000 games with one franchise ever as a player. And
Kobe had to been close, don't you think?
Kobe was close, but he had a few more losing seasons, and unfortunately for Kobe, Kobe was close. But what got me with Duncan is when he talked about how Popovich, just the kind of man that he was, not the coach, but how he taught him about life and the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things, whether it was basketball or life itself. And that's really tough. But for me, Duncan is my favorite player of all time, and there will never be anyone different for me than Tim Duncan. Yeah. Tim Duncan was one of those guys, the big fundamental, you called him, and he ranks top 20 all time in points, rebounds, blocks, assists. It's insane. His numbers are crazy. He was a 12-time all defense guy. Think about that. How many guys can say that in their career? A lot of guys can score, but
Yeah.
you know, he was top 15 all time in points, but then he's all time in defense as well. That was huge. And
I mean, one thing that got me too is each one of them had a person that they like turned to and they thanked them. You know, Garnett was Sam Mitchell, Flip Saunders. You know, Kobe was Michael, and then like you said, Duncan was Pop, and I'm guessing Robinson too.
Robinson
you know,
was huge
Yeah.
for Duncan, and he admitted that. He admitted that with Duncan and Pop, like they were the ones that kept encouraging him that he was going to get better and become what he was. And yeah, that was very, very emotional. But I think it was good for the sport. I think it was good for those guys to come out and be that way and show their human side and not just their competitive side, especially KG, who was a tough competitor on the court. And like he said, I might have given you some trouble, you know, and I might have talked down to you and talked garbage to you, but it was all part of the game, and I had so much respect for all of you.
Yep.
And so definitely some reaction
and his one regret was not to bring the title home.
to Minnesota. Yeah.
So
Maybe he can in the management group if they'll get him back in the management group for Minnesota.
yeah, there's actually kind of a little rumor that sparked up that A-Rod reached out to him to become a part of his group. So
I mean, that would be a smart thing on A-Rod's part. Who knows Minnesota basketball more than KG?
and the sad thing is there's one number retired in there, and it's not even KG's number. So
Yeah. And
No.
it needs to be. It needs to be. It needs to be. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame now.
yeah.
And if you don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame as a Timberwolf, you got another thing coming. I mean, that's the jersey he's going to have on. He might have went to Boston to win a championship, but he's going in as a Timberwolf for sure.
Yep, unless he really is very upset with the organization, which he's not. He's more upset with the ownership. So, yeah, to see him wearing anything but the Wolves colors in the Hall of Fame would definitely be heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I agreed. So Davis Barza says great class, great competitors, and he also said they all played the game the right way, and I couldn't agree more. 3 guys that just went out and played. They let their game speak for them.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, if it wasn't for Garnett, the Timberwolves pretty much telling Garnett that they're going to trade him. You probably got 3 guys that are playing on the same team for 20 years plus.
Yep.
So, I mean,
I
they came
agree.
out, you know, Garnett wasn't going to leave, you know, and, you know, the Wolves wanted him, but they had to rebuild. They had to move their best asset to do that. And, you know, so.
Yep. So, yeah. How about the moment when Vanessa Bryant talks about how Kobe vividly remembers riding the bus to go see a game, sitting in the nosebleed sections, and watching his favorite player of all time, and then she just looks over at MJ, and I think
that's where he started tearing up.
And that moment, I don't think there was a dry eye left in the room. Because that was what drove him, was to be like Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah,
And
and honestly, you could tell it in his game. I mean, the shots that Kobe took side by side with Jordan's videos are him. I mean, his work ethic that everybody talks about is, you know, Jordan-esque, and wanting to play for the same team forever is Jordan-esque. Granted, you know, Jordan did go to the Bulls Wizards to finish off his career, but you know, that wasn't a choice of his. I think it was management again. So, yeah, Kobe, you could tell Kobe modeled his game after Jordan.
Yeah.
I think
I even heard that in a documentary once.
Yep. I mean, the only thing missing off of Kobe's game was the number 23 that Jordan wore.
yeah. All right. We got one more topic to get to here before we go to rapid fire. This one, we'll ask Jennifer a couple questions too, so have your questions ready. It's going to be a WNBA update. and we always try to hit the WNBA because they are just as important as the NBA is.
Yep.
So, how is your team doing, Chris? How is Dallas
let's
doing
see.
down there?
I know they won their first game. I'm not sure if they played anymore, or if I know two teams are squaring off tomorrow, and it's Seattle and Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, go Seattle. Seattle will always be my team. Pacific Northwest. It's the only Pacific Northwest team I really root for, though. That's kind of interesting that I live here. They're really the only one. How's Minnesota doing, Big B?
It looks like they are 1-1 right now. They won the opener and lost the other night. So, oh wait, no. Okay, so the first game I said they won was a preseason game. I'm sorry. So they're 0-1. They lost the other night to the Mercury, I believe it was. And big news out of here was that Augustus, she hung it up and she's going to join the Sparks coaching staff. So that kind of hurt because they're in limbo on her coming back or not. So she finally hung it up, which is something I said before. I think that the Lynx had to go to her and say, hey, if you're not coming back, we need to know right now so we can move on. So,
Right.
so good luck to her and her coaching staff.
Absolutely.
Journey. Great player for the team, great player for the league. So,
So
we'll see what the Lynx can do.
so Dallas played on the 22nd against Seattle.
And how did that game go for Dallas?
They haven't played. It's going to be the 22nd.
I'm sorry, you said the 22nd. I
Yeah.
thought you said the second. I was like,
I
that
thought
doesn't
you
seem
said
right.
second too.
Yeah, doesn't seem right. But all right. Well, let's turn to Jennifer for a second. If you guys got a question, again, put it in the private chat and we can ask her. But I'm going to ask her the question I wanted to get a female's perspective on is, what does the WNBA have to do to be as popular as the NBA? What's the first thing they can do? Like what?
I think that the media is a large piece, and I think the media focuses on like how attractive a player is rather than how gifted they are or how hard they work. You notice in women's sports more that the posters are the women that are more attractive and more appealing than the ones that are necessarily gifted athletes. So I think that focusing on the athleticism of a player rather than the looks is one huge piece.
Wow, and I had never thought about that. Think about it. This is why I wanted to bring her on here, because she can give us a female perspective on all of this. Had you guys thought about that before she just brought it up right now?
No, but I can see that, yeah. I haven't really thought of it, but
Definitely. And question from Big B for you, Jen, would be, what advice would you give young women that want to reach the top of a sport?
I think that it really, not even just young women, any athlete that wants to reach the top of their sport, the biggest and the best thing is being coachable. Hard work is huge, but you can be really good at a sport and not coachable, and you won't make it anywhere. I think that making sure that your priorities are straight, making sure that you know what line everything fits in, whether it's family first, sports first, hard work, dedication, the same as any athlete, but really just being coachable, listening.
Yeah. So, Brandon, was that kind of the answer you were looking for?
Yeah, that's a very good answer. Especially the coachable part. I think she nailed it. That, I think more of the ladies really need to hear that. The guys themselves think that, we're guys, we can make it if we just put hard work into it, to where, yeah, they definitely need to be coachable too. But it's good to hear a woman actually say, they need to be coachable. They need to, learn. And
Absolutely. And I can tell you because you take, someone who has raw talent, but they don't have it all together, I guess is how I'll say it.
Yep.
And if they become coachable and moldable into this is what you need to do to get on the top, you know how huge that's going to be for their career?
Yeah,
I mean, that's good. Because you can have all the talent in the world and you can be a bonehead and not listen to anything your coach has to say and you think you know it all.
Yeah.
Your coach, you won't play
yeah.
because you think you're better than the rest of the team.
Or
And we see
Isn't-
that a lot more on the guys' side of sports than we do the women's side. I
no
believe.
no doubt, we see it more on the guys' side than we do on the women's side.
But didn't a women's basketball coach said that if you don't have hard work or you don't if you don't have like attitude, I won't play you.
Gino Ariema
Yeah.
for
Okay.
UConn. He said that he said basically he watches film, all the film from all the games, and if you are on the bench, and he watches that too, and if you're sitting on the bench and you're acting like you're asleep and you're not cheering on your teammates, you will never ever play a minute for his basketball team ever.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's the kind of coach I want my kid to play for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're not an everyday player, you don't get a bunch of minutes. You need to be rooting on those girls that are, or the boys that are, because
Yep.
you need to be rooting on your teammates. They need that. And it's like he said, there was a game in which he sat down one of his star players a few years ago, and one of his star players, one of his best ones, and he heard from the media and everyone else, well, you sat her down to get her prepared for the next game. And his answer was, no, I didn't. She was acting like a 12-year-old, and so I told her she could sit on the bench, and she sat the last 35 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
you won't play for me. I would rather lose than watch you play like that.
Yeah. You guys seen that show on Disney? It's a new one with John Stamos. I think it's called Hot Shots. It's yeah, he's background of the story is he's a college coach that gets kind of Bobby Knight temper, throws stuff, and so he gets fired, and he gets hired on to this high school basketball team, women's private team, and he's got a hot shot lady that's the daughter of the dean or whatever, and he's like, well, this ain't your team, so if you don't like it, you can just go. And first couple episodes was her kind of rebelling and stuff. So it's actually a pretty good show that since we're on this topic, and he's kind of, his character's kind of like that it's my team, you're going to play, if I don't see you performing, you're not going to play. So
Yeah,
yeah,
For
pretty
sure.
good show to check out.
good one. And that's Hot Shots is the name of the show.
Yep, on Disney Plus,
Big B said, and Disney Plus. So those of you that have that, check that out. Let's just get Jennifer's final thoughts on any women's sport. Is there a women's sport that you think would be the next big sport in America if more people paid attention to it?
I don't know if it'd be the next biggest sport, but I think an up and coming sport that would be lacrosse, women's lacrosse.
Ooh.
I think that to watch women play a sport that has so much physical contact would be amazing. I think that's one of the ones that it's not as televised or widely known about. That I think would be popular.
Yeah, good one.
Okay, that is very good.
Wom-
Not the
women's
answer I
lacrosse.
thought, but
Not the answer I thought either, so good
Yeah,
point
me
on
either.
that, Big B. All right, so before we go into rapid fire, do you guys have any final questions? Any perspective that you want to hear from Jennifer before we let her go on her way and we do rapid fire? And anyone watching, if you have a question, go ahead and send a question. We'll be glad to ask it and get that on the show. So We don't really run any downtime.
Yeah.
You guys can't really think of anything else. I think
No,
that was a great
I
question,
mean-
by the way, Big B. I
Yeah.
think that was a great question you asked about the advice part, and to get a woman's perspective on that for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
I got one.
Okay.
I don't know her background in sports in general. If she was a sports growing up or not, but and I know you guys got a couple kids. So is she a sport? Does she have a background in sports? And if not, how
Yes.
did she? Okay. So I guess it's kind of what advice would you give for moms that don't have the background in sports like my wife does, and she she goes out to our son's games and stuff. I mean, so what kind of advice would you give a mom that doesn't have that background in sports?
So the question is, what advice would you give to a mom who doesn't have the background in sports like you do to get to want to help your kids be better in sports?
I think the same thing that I would say to a kiddo. Ask questions and take advice from people that be coachable, I guess, in the same sense. Ask the coaches, ask the other moms, ask the dads. Ask as many people as you can. Most people, especially moms, are more than willing to help any other mom. And, if there's something that you don't have, something that your kid needs, most moms have 2 or 3 of it, and they will be happy to give you whatever it is. So I think that just asking and jumping with 2 feet, not being so scared and shying away,
Okay.
So,
Oh, I like that answer. That's a great answer.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, I think it's a great answer too. I think that's a way to look at it. That again, as guys, we won't think of it. It's something called testosterone for us that doesn't allow us to look at things in a certain way.
Well, most guys think they know it all too, and they don't want to ask
You're
questions.
absolutely right. It's an ego
Yeah.
and testosterone. I am not going to deny that at all. That definitely is something. So, Brandon, you get to be on our rapid fire, and actually, we're going to have Jennifer participate in rapid fire tonight because,
All right.
yes, I think that's the best thing to do. So, I'm going to prepare myself here because, again, I have like 250 of these questions.
Oh wow.
Just
on-
250, huh?
Just 250.
All
Just
right.
250.
That's all.
So we'll start with our guest. Actually, we'll start with Jennifer tonight. We'll put her on the spot. Rapid fire. So how this works is we're gonna ask you a question, and you're gonna say the first 1 word to 4 or 5 words that come to mind when you're asked this question, and as quickly as possible. That's what the rapid fire part comes in. So are you ready?
yes.
Okay. What is your favorite superhero and why?
Wonder Woman. Because she is Wonder Woman. Simple.
Simple and to the point. Love it. Love it. All right. What is your favorite summertime activity?
Hiking. I like to be able to go and see waterfalls, stuff like that.
All right. Last one, your third and final question, and you can make it through rapid fire, is what is the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
I don't eat strange things.
She doesn't. That's why I asked the question. What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
I don't know, shit on a shingle when I was a kid.
Love it. I love it. That's a great answer. Because it's a radio show, we could get away with sharing that. That's awesome. All right. Chris, now that you're done laughing,
I'm
you
ready.
Are you ready for your questions?
I'm ready.
Chris, what color is your toothbrush?
White.
White. All right. And Chris, describe yourself in 3 words.
Funny, kind, and energetic.
Okay. All right. And Chris, your final rapid fire question is, when I dance, I look like...
I look crazy. I don't know.
I love that one. I love that. I love asking that question because nobody really knows what to say. All right, Big B, are you
All right.
ready?
Hey, yeah.
Okay.
I should get all these right.
You should be able to get these right. Yes. If you owned a yacht,
Ooh.
what would you name it?
I would have to put my idols, my sport idols number on there, 34.
34. 34. I like that. All right. Oh, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Ooh, that is a good one. If I flew, I think I'd have to go see like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, Rome, all that stuff over there.
So Italy.
yeah,
That's a good
Italy
place.
area. Yeah.
Yeah. And your final question for rapid fire tonight, first time on the show. If you could win an award, what would the award be and why?
Jeez, that is tough. I guess if everybody says I'm big-hearted and stuff, so I guess an award, if they made one, would be some kind of big heart award, because I try to help everybody's problems. I try to be there for everybody, so something like that.
All right. Well, Tim is no. That's a good answer. I humanitarian award. Let's say that would be the humanitarian award.
Yeah.
Coast to Coast Man of the Year award.
Yeah,
I
sure.
can
Why
see
not?
that one. Yeah. Okay, so Tim wants me to ask you this question, Big B, because we asked Chris this question and he about fell out of his chair because he didn't know how to answer
And I was
this.
actually listening to the show when you guys did this. I
This-
almost fell out of his chair.
Has to be my favorite rapid fire question of all time, by the way. If you could be a flavor of ice cream, what flavor would you be and why?
Jeez. I would have to go mint chocolate chip because I think that's one of the favorite flavors. So, everybody seems to like me. So I think mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip. All right. You had a better answer than Chris. Chris almost fell out of his chair. But,
I did.
he didn't know how to answer that one. All right. Well, that will do it for our show tonight. I want to thank Chris for being on here.
Yep.
Chris, as always,
Thank you.
one of the bros. Appreciate you so much, man. And give you 30 seconds. Say whatever you need to say.
Thank you guys for watching. We're growing the page, growing the network, growing this show and all of our others. Interact, watch live, watch if you missed it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
All right. And before we get to Big B, I want to say, Jen, thanks for being on with us tonight and giving us a woman's perspective. Any final words?
What is your favorite what flavor of ice cream would you be and why?
Ooh, gets the
Love it,
turn
love
on.
Yeah. So I would actually, if I could be a flavor of ice cream, I would say that I would be Neapolitan. And why? Because I'm not plain like vanilla, and I ain't smooth enough to be chocolate. So that would be why.
That's good.
So now we get to Big B. Thanks for being on tonight, man. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
What-
thanks for having me on.
You got your 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Tomorrow, 9 Central, unless I am wrong. Tim, please correct me. On Deck will be on our baseball show with me and Tim, the Sarge. And then Wednesday, Sports Minute. You'll see myself, J-Mac, and Ace. And then Sunday, tune in for trivia. We got a little heated battle already started. This first comment that we had on the show tonight. So, trivia Sunday.
All right. And for Chris and Big B and Jennifer, I'm J-Mac, the Bearded One. I thank you so much for listening. We could not do this without you. Lifelong dreams here being played out. This is all I've ever wanted to do is talk about sports. So,
Yeah.
I bid you all adieu. I hope you have a good night, and we will see you on the other side.